Yo.
Yo.
Hello.
Awesome. Yeah. This is entirely planned. I'm gonna cook some steak. That's why I turn on the video feature today. I'm just gonna kind of like improvise it. I don't have the, I don't have the mental energy to fuck around with my tripod thing and then set up the phone and have to deal with the backwards and forwards to the space. So I'm just gonna like fucking run around with my phone and like just improvise this shit. And it's gonna be fun time, regardless. Damn. I collected so much of the meat that I can actually make some broth now. It's pretty good.
Sweet.
I have an entire bowl of like scraps, and I think next week, or at least on like a Sunday or something, or a Saturday, I'm just gonna boil the shit out of it, and it's gonna be really good. So I'm gonna make probably some more tallow, and make some more, and make like broth for the first time, because you know that's the thing. So a couple weeks ago, I had a space, and I was cooking meat, and then Mark I was like saying, why the fuck aren't you eating the fat? I was like, actually, yeah, that's a really good point. I don't want to eat the fat because it's annoying. So instead of what I decided to do, compromise. What if I consumed everything that's in this thing, because you know that's what you're supposed to do when you're eating it, by like boiling the fat out of it, making tallow, and using the tallow to fry the steak. By the way, amazing decision that one was. And you know, taking the offcuts, which would be the sinew and all that kind of stuff, cooking it out so that you can, you know, consume the collagen that's in it, which is really, really good.
Interesting.
So that's what we're doing right now. Where's my knife? By the way, have you guys seen my bowl of tallow? Look, see? It's under this. Look at that. See, there's a little bowl with a lot of that in there. So you can, like, you know, take some out just a little bit. You take like 3 chunks. I usually take like 3 chunks. I like purified it and cut it into like little pieces. Boom. That should be enough to like fry. What is 3 steaks? Yeah, that should be enough. Usually, because you're not trying to drown it in fat. You're trying to like you just keep it right. So what I do is, because I know there's still some water in there, I just let this heat up so that it melts nicely and that all of the liquid that may still be in there can evaporate properly. Alright, let me put my thing back in the fridge, and then we go to the part where I like fucking score the meat and then season it properly. I saw that it was a Tesla event was live. That was pretty nice.
Yeah.
How's the stock market performing? Is it up? Is it down? Like, what are we doing with Tesla?
Tesla. I'll check. Just like kind of sideways. Nothing too good.
So it's kind of like sitting in place faster. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Good. I mean, it could rise, but usually with announcements, stuff goes down. But I guess it doesn't this time, so that's pretty good. All right, next phase. Let me cut the meat up. What we're gonna do is we're actually gonna remove the fat of the meat. There's like a big part of it, and that's what we're gonna refine into tallow, right? So we have to actually collect that over the period of, like, say a week or 2. 2 weeks is mine for like my consumption is pretty high. So for me, it takes about 2 weeks, and then I have like enough volume for me to, like, you know, actually extract tallow at some point. So that's kind of like how I measure it. I just say, you know, how long is it going to take me? And it's like, okay, how many times? Yeah, so it's 2 weeks for me. Might be 3 weeks for others if you only eat, like, you know, a certain amount of sirloin, or if you have different cuts of meat. But yeah, in my case, it takes about, like, you know, 2 weeks. So it's a good cycle too. Nice. Okay, so let me get the meat out. Perfect. Laz, what are you doing?
I'm trying to figure out why the video is not displaying.
Yeah, same here. I can't see the video.
No, because I haven't turned it on.
Oh, okay.
I'm not doing that right now. Because I just don't wanna. I'm gonna display it once I start throwing the stuff in the pan and such, you know. Then I'll start displaying.
Okay, that's good.
But first, let me just cut the meat, the parts of it off. Sometimes I also take parts of the. I don't take parts of the fat if there's like blood in it, you know, because I don't want to like pollute the quality of the tallow. So I try to keep it as pure as possible. And you can actually see, like earlier, which I showed, that the tallow is actually quite yellow, and that's a good thing because that means it's from steak that is grass-fed.
Interesting.
So when you have grass-fed steak, it's going to be yellowish because there's like keratin in it, which of course I was writing about, a couple weeks back. You might have seen that post.
Yeah, keratin.
Actually, let me get the thing. Where's my bowl? Where's my freaking bowl? Bowl. I'll show you my big bowl of unrefined fat in a minute. So first, let me cut off all the fat from the steak here, and then I'll show you guys the refined bowl, the bowl of unrefined fat. Okay, let me just put that there. Wait, what? What the hell is this? Why is it pressing random things? Oh, there we go. Okay. Let me cut it off. I wonder if I could actually show it. It's going to look a little funny. Because I don't have like the stand for it. Let's see. Can you guys see that?
Yeah,
I can see it.
So you can see like this part. It looks a little weird if I show like, there you go. So what I do is I kind of like cut in on it like that. And just like do this with the meat. And then you can start getting the fat off of the steak itself. See that?
Yeah.
So let me get a good grip on it. So you cut into it and you get all of the fat off of it. See that? You're trying not to cut the sinew because that's the thing that's going to be important. You need to actually keep that on the meat because it keeps the meat contained. But what you're after is just cutting off the fat. See? Look at how well that's coming. Oh, sorry. There you go. See that? See how well that's coming off?
Yeah, there we go. Yep. That's coming out
So
quick.
you're just doing it like this. Keep doing it like that. And then eventually you start trimming it. It's really difficult to do this like when you... There you go. Boom.
And the fat.
Fucking take this off. Alright, there you go. Piece of fat. See? Then we wash it. Make sure it's nice and clean. Because you gotta put it in the bowl. And this here is my bowl of unrefined fat. See? I have a whole bowl of it. And that later is going to go into a pot, and I'm going to boil it for a few hours, and then we're golden. And that's like how you do the purification process. You just put some salt in it. It's called just the wet extraction, I believe. And that allows you to just, do that easily. You can actually get fat from a butcher as well, so you don't need to do what I do with my meat.
Yeah.
You can just get that from your butcher. So like, hey man, do you have like some fat laying around? And you can like extract the tallow. Do it yourself at home. It's pretty easy. Should be pretty sweet to do if you like. But it's not for everyone. Not everybody wants to spend a few hours cooking stuff. It's not that you're gonna be actively there while the thing is cooking. You just kind of be taking a back seat, right, as it's doing the boiling. But yeah, it depends also on energy costs or whatnot. You can't do this in Germany. Especially not during the winter, because the Germans are fucking draconian as fuck. Remember what they did last time? It was absolutely fucking insane. They said, hey man, you're not allowed to have temperatures above a certain, amount because we're trying to save energy, because, war and stuff. That was fucking insane.
Crazy. And the no campfires thing is insane too. Like, what the hell?
Oh yeah. Fire, the thing, imagine, you have in history, the thing that made humans so great, or the thing that was so amazing. Prometheus stealing fire for us, bringing it down to Earth,
Yeah.
And then you have the fucking German government that bans fire. Like, what are you trying to do? Are you trying to, virtue signal and suck up to the gods' retribution? What's your fucking problem?
You have to get a permit.
Honest question.
Ridiculous.
But yeah. is a bit of a thing. Okay, score my meat. So I do this thing where I just like cut it to the meat a little bit so
I
that the
started
seasoning
doing
can
that.
get in.
Did that earlier.
Yep. Yeah. Clean up this thing here. What the fuck? Hold up. Where's the thing? Other thing. Bruh.
Adrian,
Alright, let me do this real quick. Boom, there you go. That looks good. Perfect. So now we're gonna do some seasoning. So I got like the meat here, it's sitting here, it's perfect, it's nice, ready to go. So I gotta put some seasoning on that. We're gonna take some, very simple thing, just a little bit of Italian seasoning. And we're gonna put some salt on top of that, and we're gonna call that a day. I'm gonna actually start heating this pan up in a few minutes. So, nice. I need to actually make a video out of this at some point to post, so people can see what I'm doing.
Yeah, we made one last time.
No, a proper one, with the whole process included, that's what I meant. Alright, there you go, that looks good. Let's turn that upside down. And again. What's cool about this is I can like use the fucking plastic packaging that the meat was put in as like a kind of plate to do this on top of, so I have like less cleaning up.
Yep.
I did that first in New Zealand. Before I had like a bowl to mix this in, and I put all the seasoning in like a bowl and did that. And then I went to New Zealand, and I was like, well, actually it makes more sense to just use the packaging you're gonna throw away anyways.
Fair enough.
There we go. Perfect.
Nice and salted.
Oh, it smells amazing! Alright, that will be the Italian seasoning. Put that on there, let me just look. Turn the heat up. And then we're gonna throw the meat into the pan. And then we're just gonna like do the entire conversation as we usually do. And I don't know what I'm gonna do with like the video thing because it's gonna like be on for a couple hours, but then there's like no video, but that's fine. Everybody's gonna be like, where's the video? Where's the video? I don't know. Unless you guys want to see memes or something. I could show memes.
Sure, why not?
Then again, what I don't understand is like, we can't do video spaces on desktop. That one's annoying.
Doesn't make sense.
not on
I would
Android
like-
as well, by the way. Not on Android.
Yeah, I know. Alright, here we go. We're gonna start to heat this thing up a little bit. Oh, you see that? That's the water evaporating rapidly. That's why it's doing the little bubbly thing. Once that stops, just give a little... There you go. Perfect. You know, it's funny. Normally with a steel pan like this, you start to see signs of age because there would be stains on it. Because normally people are kind of stupid, so they don't know how to take care of a thing like that. And that the stuff that they cook is like burnt into the fucking pan, and then it looks all stained and shit. I know somebody else is using the exact fucking pan and is using it more than even I am using it sometimes, but for all the wrong fucking things, and it's like, bro, it's fully fucking stained and fucked up, and I'm like, dude, you gotta actually rapidly clean it. And not like, you gotta like have it coated in the fat properly, because otherwise it's gonna fuck with me. Adjust it real quick. Because otherwise it's gonna have like this little problem. There you go. Where it gets stained. You don't want to have it get stained. Because that just looks ugly as shit. Nice. Looking good. And we're gonna let that sit here for a little bit. Perfect. Now I'm gonna clean up real quick. Make sure everything's nice. I'm gonna cut off a slice of butter for myself, because that's what I eat with this. One of the things that you have to do when you eat a diet that's full of meat is you have to introduce a decent amount of butter and fat. Otherwise, you're never gonna stop being hungry. Normally, that's what carbohydrates are used for, is for the filling effect. You're also not really gonna feel like you're full. You're gonna feel like you'd be able to eat a lot more, but it depends on the type of metabolism. Some people, they have a very inefficient metabolism where they cannot actually deal with this kind of diet. And so as such, they actually need, to eat differently. And so the carnivore thing is not for everybody. And then again, I also do eat a little bit of carbohydrates in between because I just like it. But oftentimes I could just skip out of it or even switch my diet around entirely and go like, hey, I'm going to start eating a lot more carbohydrates again now. It's like, that's the thing I can do. So it's very nice to have the bodily adaptation for this. It's like, easily switch things over. Pretty decent. Alright. Next. What do I want next? This is almost ready to flip. I can fucking smell it. Because the caramelization is about to take place. That's when you know you can stop flipping it. And it'll be just right. Let me cut up this piece of butter real quick before I have to stop flipping it, because I'm going to use the same knife for that. Now I don't want to clean it twice. And fucking packaging, man. Butter packaging is so annoying sometimes.
Yeah, I know, it sticks on there.
Yeah,
Trying to peel it off.
Yeah, like today would be great. Bro. What in the actual fuck was even that? They're like stuck on there like fucking glue. Alright, perfect. I think it's time to flip this thing. Let's see if it's going to be nice. Oh yeah, look at that. Decent crust.
Yeah.
Could be a little better on the crust though, but it's pretty decent in my opinion. Oh yeah, this one went well. Look at that.
I just finished my steak, yeah.
You have some crust. It's a little bit difficult to like do two pieces at the same time. Like the heat just reaches a little off. So 3 pieces. So like you have a lot of crust on one, but you may have like almost none on the other. But like this is just right.
In the middle.
Nice. Perfect. Alright, so look at the chat and see what else is happening. Anti-Android user discrimination? Lol.
Yeah.
Hey, not my fucking fault. I used to use these things a lot. I just now use the iPhone for spaces. I'm pissed at it too, and I don't think it's going to be improved anytime soon, to be honest. I mean, they would really need to start paying a lot more attention to the whole thing if they wanted to actually think about fixing it, which I find is really not happening at the moment, which is unfortunate to say the least, but, that's what happens. So, funny thing, in one of the chats I was in, we had a bit of an interesting discussion about one specific part of the male anatomy being something that females are attracted to. Hands. What's up with that?
It makes sense.
Tell me in the comments. Explain to me what's up with hands. Why are people into hands? And what do you think about the hands up? Like, what do you think about that meme up at the top? Because I know that it is the way that this is, right? But somebody has to explain to me the why of that.
I think it's pretty obvious. Girls like it.
Alright, that's pretty good. Wait, what's obvious?
Fingers, yeah, that's why. Fingering? Yeah.
What's obvious? Yeah, but what though? I don't understand it. What's obvious?
Like the reason why they find hand attractive.
Yeah, what's up with that?
Yeah, because you use your hands for certain things, you know.
Okay. No, but I really want to know. I will like see in the comment section if you guys can like tell me what's up with hands. Explain hands. Hands are a huge deal. Yes, I know they're a huge deal. Explain. They're a huge deal, but it's like freezes to elaborate. To discern which is which. What does that mean? This is fucking funny as hell. Bro. Yeah, that looks good. So we're gonna like, let that simmer for a little bit. The Elon conspiracies are hilarious. I'm just looking for my notifications, and I replied to somebody's post. They were doing the crash test again, but they actually proved that in many cases it actually does in fact detect that there's a wall there. And this guy replies to me saying, is that you? Like, what do you mean, is that you? I'm not Elon, if that's what he means. Like, I don't know. Adrian's not Elon also. I did not think that was like a thing that was going to continue, even after everything that's happened. But yeah. Okay, let's look at the comments. What's up with the hands? Actually, they're not a huge deal. So which is it? Hands are great for opening things. Dot
Yeah,
dot
it
dot
seems
dot
like a
dot,
niche
like
thing.
drawers.
Not a lot
Okay.
of them are attracted to it, but some of
Okay.
them are. Yeah.
Something tells me he doesn't really need to know. What are you talking about? I will figure out literally everything in the universe if I have to, given enough time. I will live for a fucking 1,000 years, I don't care. I want to live for 1,000 years, I want to do everything. Clean hands matter. Oh yeah, that I agree with.
Yeah, that's true.
Always keep thy hands clean. That is always that's a thing.
Catherine says they're not a huge deal.
I'm really shitty with nails, to be honest, because like I just work and the nails just keep falling off really. So, but yeah, I don't actually like have to cut my fingernails because I keep like working doing crazy things, and then my fingernails just like cut themselves effectively. So when I'm out there doing something with the machine, then just the fingernail comes off. I'm like, okay, fuck that then.
Makes sense.
Oh yeah, that's getting perfect. Look at that. I think we're just ready. So you can see the blood coming out a little bit. So I think that's just right. We're gonna let that sit here for a little bit, and then we're just gonna cut that apart. Okay, let's see. Your voice sounds similar to Elon. You talk faster. My guess is you are related. No, I am not related, as a matter of fact. But yeah, sure. To a woman, a man's hands either is a display of strength or wussiness. It plays a big part in "Can he handle me?" Okay. I see. I see what you mean. Big hands can equal big ... Understandable. Understandable. What else do we have?
One dude said the big hands, big eggplant. So I guess that makes sense.
I think there might be I think there might be a little bit of a correlation. Yes. That is probably yeah. That could happen. Yeah. Well, actually, I see Kyle Paul here. Let me bring you up. You're the guy who did the crash test with the wall, but like not actually crashing into it. If you'd be down, I'm just gonna like send you an invite. You can come up to speak, and tell us something about it. Tell us something about it. You made a really good video there. Just gonna send you a little invite. Boop. There you go. If you'd like to take it, because we're not doing much. We're just literally watching. This is the nutritious equivalent of watching the paint on the wall dry. Because like I'm waiting for the sauce to come out properly, so that I know that the steak is done all the way through, and then I'm just gonna cut it up on a that chopping board is actually standing right there. So we're just like waiting for this to happen, and I think it's just about ready. Yeah, it's perfect. You can poke that. Boom, boom. We're good to go. So let me turn this off real quick, and I put the phone on the counter, and I'm gonna start chopping apart this meat. I actually had a lot of meat today. There's like this place around here that makes lamb. So there's like there's a thing that people do sometimes. They cut lamb into these like really thin pieces, about like 5 millimeters or so thick, and then they like fry it on a barbecue. and there's like this one place that marinates them super, super well, and I ordered like, 5 pieces of whatever that is, and they gave me 6, and I was like, nice. So I brought that home and I ate it this morning. It was like really good breakfast, man.
That's good.
Really enjoyed that. It was brilliant. Alright, so time to cut the steak. So this is the part where I like cut the sinew and such off, and that allows me to put that aside for later and boil it out. Because I really want to see whether or not I can make my own broth properly, because that will add, a lot to my nutrition. Because, I want to do as much as possible with as little supplements as possible as well. Because I don't like supplements, to be honest. And I think that, if you're dependent on them for everything, that is a bit of an issue. I still think that you should take supplements for some things, because it's unavoidable. But I think that perhaps with this, one can like take certain aspects out of the body's workload. It was pretty good.
So you're saying
Gotta
don't
stick
be
it.
like Brian
Yeah.
Johnson?
Obviously not. It could be like Brian Johnson. You know what Brian Johnson is doing? Is he's actually doing a very interesting thing. What he does is extremely complex and can still just be beaten by a random fucking dude with a few eggs, butter, and steak. Really. Because what he's doing is he's following a diet that is not meant for humans. So, a fundamental misconception with vegans and vegetarians is that humans can somehow sustain their existence off of this, which is partially true. However, normally what you'd want for the human body is for it to not just survive, but actually to thrive. Right? That's a fundamental difference. If you're eating plants, you are surviving, but you're not thriving, right? And you need a shit ton of stuff to keep yourself alive, including, of course, that what Brian Johnson is doing to himself. He has to take a ton of supplements, do these strange therapies, clean out his blood. He's like doing all these things, and I'm just thinking to myself, see, this is one way to stay alive, but what you could also do is eat a fucking steak, and like not do any of these things, and you're gonna be just
Steak
fine.
butter.
My fucking great grandmother like lived in the poorest fucking time of Germany, and lived to be like 90 something, and she only started dying because she didn't have a farm to work on anymore, And sure, they had like a variety of things that they ate, but I can assure you that they didn't have access to any of this like new medication that the people need in order to subside off of fucking plants alone. Right? And besides, the methodology. What's by the way, Blaze? What's wrong with the microphone? I keep hearing
Oh,
echoes
you know
back
what
in.
it is? It's this thing over here. I'll mute it. There we go. Should be better now.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So what he's doing is he's using like this guy. His name is. Hang on. There's this guy. His name is like Sinclair, and he came up with a methodology for what you could do for your nutrition. But the problem is that methodology is actually incorrect. Now you could say, okay, what does random guy on the internet say about another person who has like doing things in medicine rather, right? It's like, what does random guy do? I was like, I don't know. Random guy observes the universe and says, hey, something's not adding up. Like for instance, there was a photo taken of. Come on, what's his name again? The guy who got released from prison because he like did Silk Road.
Oh, Ross Ulbricht.
Yeah, Ross Ulbricht. Right. So you said they had a picture of Ross Ulbricht and compare it next to Brian Johnson. Yeah, Brian Johnson at an age of I think it was 47 or something, compared to like the age 47 of Ross Ulbricht, and Ross Ulbricht looked younger even though he ate literal fucking slave slop in prison. So what's going on? Like something's odd. At that point, you got to start asking questions, because if that guy looks more healthy, there's something intuitive about people's brains and the way that they function. If you look at, say, another person, and you feel as though something is fundamentally wrong with their health, you're often correct, because you can kind of tell there's this instinctive thing about you. Like you can tell that the skin color is not quite right for like, you should have like, cheeks that look a little bit more, voluminous or something like that. There's something wrong with the person's facial appearance, especially that type of person's facial, appearance, right? It's very, very obvious, right? So you say, hey, something's wrong with you, but then that guy says, no, this is actually super healthy. When in actuality, I'm like, dude, I can tell something's wrong. We're just going to examine that one later. And we're going to see like which one of us is like the happier lifestyle on top of all of this. And which one of these methods costs the least amount of money and also the least amount of effort, but reaps the most amount of gain. Or reward rather. I can tell you that it's definitely not Brian Johnson's method, because who the fuck wants to do that to themselves? Plus, you can't afford it. Like, how are you going to fund that kind of lifestyle? It's literally impossible. So, it's basically like saying, we should all eat this diet, or we're fucked. And it's like everybody then tries their variation of it, gets fucked because of it, and then boom, you have a problem. Wild. Hang on a minute, what's that? Don't think I'll be able to, let me cut the sinew off the steak. But like walking backwards and forwards doing some stuff. I'm actually a very interesting anomaly in a sense that I understand what's like healthy and what's unhealthy. And I say, what can I do to like get the happy medium of stuff that's unhealthy that I can do, which I enjoy doing, and stuff that's healthy that I need to do in order to, allow me to keep doing the stuff that I actually want to do. So, like drinking energy drinks, for instance, is one of those things. By the way, I cannot watch that fucking video right now. Somebody extract like what that guy's saying in that video and turn it into text. It's in the Signal chat, by the way.
Signal chat? Okay.
Yeah, just extract whatever he's saying and turn it into text so I can actually read it.
Yeah, okay.
It's actually interesting how little is being written these days. There's just like mention in conversation. Yeah. It's ironic. It's the existence of the space is predicated on this exact trend being a thing. And the fact that people are here kind of like, makes that be a thing that's valid as an observation and also as a form of execution when it comes to spreading certain types of, knowledge or information rather, just on its own. Which is how radio works as well. This is kind of like talk radio, minus the fact that we're like, funded by the governments of the world in some ways. Like I'm not funded by any government or anything, so it's like, okay, you get the independent news reports, because like, Adrian Dittman is not owned by anybody. So it's like, I'm owned by myself, so I can just like do whatever. I don't have like the actual need to,
bow down to anything, yeah.
Yeah, like, or like, say, promote certain things, because I don't depend on that.
Product placement or anything. Yeah, we don't need that.
Right, exactly. You still have background audio, by the way, like heavy amounts of background audio. Things are really bad.
Adrian, I just posted the Ross Ulbricht versus Brian Johnson picture. Do you want me to pin it?
Yeah, I'll pin it up at the top. Yeah, here's the picture of it. If you guys can like look at the top of the space, what I pinned there. Look at that. See, Ross Ulbricht versus Brian Johnson. Tell me which one of these guys looks healthier. If I wouldn't have told you about the thing I just told you earlier, you would have assumed that the guy, as Brian Johnson, is older than Ross Ulbricht. Technically now, by the timeline, he actually is. But these pictures are taken where they were both at the same age, right? So you can equalize it. And Brian Johnson looks older, even though they're technically taken at a point in their life where they had the same age. Fascinating, isn't it? So who would you rather want to be physically here? You want to look like Brian Johnson, or do you want to look like Ross Ulbricht?
Ross,
and at that point,
obviously.
you gotta ask yourself, wait a minute. So if Ross Ulbricht looks healthier and he's been eating fucking slave slop in prison, what the hell is Brian Johnson doing to himself? We gotta like not do that, right? See, it's very simple. It's the same. I had a discussion once with people who said, well, I mean, how can you prove that your assertion on health is actually correct? And I'm like, well, I can actually prove that assertion is correct by execution. It's like, how is that? Well, first of all, I don't trust things like the FDA or various other organizations to tell me what healthy is, because the very people that are telling me what healthy is are inherent, like empirically not healthy. And also, if, say, the general public, you say, okay, that's an edge case, okay, fine, cool enough that the administrator of the thing, that's supposed to make everybody healthy is unhealthy as fuck. It's funny, as it is, but, okay, cool, maybe that's a point. Explain to me then why most people today are obese, right? And how is it that before we changed the understanding of what quote-unquote health is, people were the inverse of that, where the minority was obese and the majority was healthy? Something happened within that period of time. And what that thing was the inversion of the food pyramid. See, people are not built to consume 80% carbohydrates and 20% proteins, meat proteins. By the way, plant proteins don't count. The body does not absorb it the same way. People keep saying plant proteins and all this kind of weird shit. It actually doesn't count the same way. It's absorbed slightly differently and less effectively, right? And sometimes not at all. So people say, okay, we eat proteins. I'm like, no, plants don't count. How much meat are you actually eating? And they eat so little, it's unbelievable. Hell, it's even got to the point where there is fake meat. It's like wild, man. Which is also funny because you look at Mark Rober, who I like kind of forgot about for a while, because he's been doing his thing. Then does the wall test with a Tesla, which of course had many interesting discrepancies in it. But he also had what is his name? Bill Gates on one of his videos, where he's basically advocating for the fake burger made by Beyond Meat and Impossible Foods. So yes, it is definitely a warranted assertion to call these things fake food because they're not real. I would hope that the general public keeps remembering these things as actual fake food, because that's not real. Weird vegetable oils and plant matter that does not equate to actual protein or amino acid gain in the body does not warrant the thing to be called meat. It's fake food. It's literally garbage. And it is garbage because the type of stuff that ends up in, say, one of those fake meat patties, the plant material is often waste product as well. See, one of the most incredible things that the food industry has done was to turn actual trash into food. Or to turn things that were never meant for human consumption into stuff that's now in everything that humans can consume. Like cottonseed oil. Remember when that started? The whole seed oil craze actually started with fucking cottonseed oil. In America, you have now Crisco and shit. First you had like lard, and you had tallow, and then you had Crisco come up with this like weird paste that's made out of like cottonseed oils and all that kind of weird ass bullshit. And then instantly, now humans are consuming more linoleic acid, which is, by the way, what's inside of these seed oils, linoleic acid. Now the body does require some of it, but doesn't require it to be completely inundated with it constantly at every level. Right? We're consuming more linoleic acid than at any other point in the entirety of humans' existence. No wonder we're all unhealthy as fuck. No wonder that cancer is at an all-time high. No wonder that everybody is obese. It's not a mystery of why everybody's unhealthy. It's not a mystery at all. It's perfectly fucking clear. It's just nobody's talking about it, and the people who are talking about it either don't execute on it properly enough, or don't get listened to because they're shunned by your weird legacy media news article providers. Like, bruh. So, because there's no money to be made in healthy people. Because how are you going to treat something with medicine if there's nothing to treat? That's the problem. So there's an inverse incentive to not only cause the problems, but keep them around perpetually so you can provide solutions almost on like a subscription basis, right? So that you can keep humans just healthy and unhealthy enough, and you can keep fixing their fake issues to make more money off of them. It's fascinating stuff. It's horrible. It's horrible, but fascinating. And I look into that quite a lot. So yeah, that's also why I eat a lot of meat. And even in the meat now, they're attacking this as well because they realize that their fake food is something that nobody really wants to eat. Because you can say in front of hundreds of people in a physical gathering, and those who are forced to watch digitally because they're paranoid, that they're going to eat the bugs, but that doesn't mean that they're actually going to want to eat the bugs. They're actually going to want to do the opposite. Right? So you can say hey, go eat the bugs. You have Klaus Schwab telling you go eat the bugs, but it doesn't mean you're actually going to want to do it. And rightfully so, you shouldn't want to do it. It's terrible. It's a really bad idea. You don't need to eat bugs. Right? And at no point in history do we need to eat bugs at the level of which people are recommending you to eat bugs, or rather telling you that you will eat bugs. They're not even giving you a choice, they're just saying you will eat bugs. Yeah. Right? So it's up to people to stop it, because if they tell you that they're going to do it and you don't do anything about it, then, well, guess what? It's going to happen anyways, and you're going to be at fault for it because you clearly didn't do anything against it, so then, they're not even in the wrong, which is very fucking fascinating as a concept for people to have to understand. Either way, when you look at, say, now, the meat aspect of things, people realize they don't actually want to eat the bugs, they don't want to eat the fake food. So what they're now trying to do, especially in Great Britain, which is also why I find the weird leftist rhetoric so absolutely hilarious, where they say, why is Elon getting involved in government stuff? I'm like, hey, actually, good question. Why has Bill Gates, over the last 10 years, infiltrated various departments of government all around the world and altered the way that health is being understood, shilled his vaccines everywhere that have caused irreversible damages and death worldwide, and nobody has a problem with that? Like, so you have a problem with someone making sure that your tax dollars are spent well, but you don't have a problem with someone that's actively trying to kill you. That's wild. That's like absolutely wild. So like those people have zero logic, obviously, right? Because with this exact thing that I've just stated, it is abundantly clear how there is no logic found. Literally, it's 404 logic not found. So it's like we do a little redirect here, and it's going to be rhetoric and NPC brain that says, "You are a bigot." Blah, blah, blah. It's fucking insane. But
Adrian.
yeah, what they're doing with the cows is they're giving them these. So there's like a false understanding of how bad methane is as a greenhouse gas. So they say we got to stop the cows from farting. First of all of the livestock combined on Earth has like almost zero impact. The farts, they have almost zero measurable impact on the planet in any capacity. It's like there's almost nothing to it, right? So you can't even say that is an actual problem, right? But so what they do is they give these cows, in Britain they're trying to do this, Bill Gates is trying to do this, trying to give these cows specific type of medication so that they stop farting. And you know what's interesting? This medication has a really, really interesting side effect on humans. And what is that?
It makes us
making
grow
people
horns.
sterile. It makes you sterile. It makes you sterile.
Adrian, Lawyer Cat just requested, can you accept him, please?
I've been trying to get him up multiple times. It's not working. He has to restart his app and clear the cache.
Also, I sent you
I know
the
nothing
text.
about environmental science, and I could tell you that certainly the cows farting is not contributing to any sort of global warming. With confidence.
It's absolute bullshit. It's not even like the CO2 crisis that everybody's like effectively made up as an issue is not even real either. I grow fucking trees, by the way, so I know what I'm talking about. Like, I actually do these things, You go to an environmental scientist, whatever this thing is, it's a made-up profession. It's not real, it's fake. And you go to them and you ask them, how many trees have you planted in your life? You. How many holes have you put into the ground? And how many trees have you physically put in those holes? How many? There'll be zero, because these people have never gotten a day outside of their fucking office, so they have zero understanding of reality and should they absolutely not be listened to. All the activists the same, because they've done absolutely nothing except unprofessionally and annoyingly yap. They are literally nobodies. They're made-up people that are fake. These are fake people. They don't exist. This is not a real thing. Climate scientists are not a real thing. Especially those people that just talk about stuff that literally is not a problem. Because if you were to do any research, actually, and if you understood physics, actually, you would look at this and go, that's interesting. So you ask the broad question, right? You ask them this question, how much CO2 is actually in the atmosphere? They would say, 0.0041%. Okay, cool, understood. Now you ask them, how many percent, how much of the Earth's atmosphere needs to be CO2 in order for there to be a noticeable greenhouse gas effect, right? You ask them this question. They would not know how to answer because they don't know. I know the answer. You know how much that is? 20%. So if the Earth's atmosphere at the moment has only 0.0041% CO2, then where the fuck is the greenhouse gas effect? There isn't one. That's the point. The only one that exists is because of the water vapors. That's a natural fucking thing. And the only reason why people say the temperature is going up is because we started measuring at one of Earth's low temperature cycles. This is like the literal depth. We've been like at the worst time to start measuring temperature and to say, wow, it should not go up is like now. Or it has actually been a couple decades ago. As a matter of fact, you can't even tell how much CO2 is in the atmosphere unless you take an air sample and you freeze it to the point where the stuff that's actually causing a greenhouse gas effect, or a greenhouse effect as a matter of fact, is like the water vapor is frozen out and you can measure how much CO2 is there. That's how the guy did it, by the way, in Hawaii. The funniest thing is all this bullshit is based on a scientist's observations who did this as a hobby. He didn't even do this officially. He's a fucking guy at an observatory in Hawaii who decided, hey, we're going to take an air sample, freeze it, and examine how much CO2 is in there. This motherfucker just, like, did that. He wasn't even supposed to do that. He just did it on his free time. So, like, I can't do it on my free time? So, like, you know, do things that actually matter? You know, like, I don't know, planting shit and figuring out how that works? Or like, hey, you know, climate person says we need wind energy. No, we don't. That's fucking stupid. We need solar. We need nuclear. We need fusion. Like, oh no, you don't know what you're talking about. Like, dude, I literally live in infrastructure that's powered with solar. I have batteries beneath my fucking feet. Again, these people are fake. They don't exist. They're like real. I don't listen to them because they're stupid as fuck. I don't think anybody else should listen to them either. And it's bad enough that the politicians are forced to listen to them because it's fucking insane. They're gonna like accept policies that economically sabotage the countries, like that these policies, these brain dead policies made by brain dead people are implemented into. It's fucking crazy.
Yeah, how about not blocking the roads?
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know?
dude, that would be nice. How about like not saying stop oil? If you want to say stop oil, why don't you stop wearing those high-vis vests? Because what do you think that's made out of? Oh, that's right, plastic, which comes from fucking oil. Damn. Okay, cool. So you can't wear that. You can't wear your underwear. You can't wear your weird ass fucking like stretch-based clothing that you have. You have to like wear something completely different now. You have to go like full cotton, but you're not going to pay that because you don't have any money because you don't actually do anything in the economy. You just grift off of everyone, right? Because you know the taxpayer is actually doing the work. That's why they can pay taxes so that you know you can be funded. Right? You like you and your useless fucking things that you do, which is blocking the road and then you're causing more economic turmoil because people can literally not go to fucking work to make the money that supports your fucking dumbass grift.
Yeah.
Like, damn, dude, kind of funny.
It's retarded.
This is how these things work. You look at the system, you go, wow, this is how it actually works. Quite fascinating, really.
You know, it's
And it
like-
makes you dislike these people even more.
It's the
Rightfully so, by the way.
It's the ultimate way of signaling to the world, I have a micro penis.
Yes. Or none at all, even. That one happens too. One has to tell these people that 2024 is over. And the money is not, like, all the money's gone. So now what do they do? Well, now we're just gonna tell everybody that they're Nazis, you know? And then you could be like, oh wow, how do we do this? Well, we're gonna say that Nazis are super, super bad, and then we are gonna use more iconography, more Nazi iconography than the Nazis themselves, and spray it everywhere. Wow, you really showed them, huh?
Oh yeah, the
Boy.
side that is the Nazi is the one not drawing the swastikas, and the side that's not the Nazi is the one drawing the swastikas. Perfect sense.
If I took Hitler from the past, brought him into the future, showed him today's world, and just gave him no context whatsoever, he'd be like, oh wow, I definitely won. Look at these guys. Dude, still in Europe it's happening? Wow, dude, they even take their shirts off. That's crazy. Do you think that's actually going to happen? Because if you looked at this, and you took away the context, that's exactly how it would look. Crazy, man.
So,
If I
like,
showed...
whipping the tits out is insane.
He would actually kind of dislike that because I think it would just look at it and say that's depraved, go get executed or something. I don't know. This is because it's fucking Hitler. What do you expect? But like, would still be interesting regardless.
Also, Adrian, I just sent the text of the video that you requested. in
I
the
already
chat.
sent it to him.
Alright. Shit.
Yeah, they took this German guy. Like white German guy, not like an immigrant. Right? White German guy with green card and literally fucking tortured him.
That's wicked. I don't know if that's tortured, but violently interrogated is like a very specific way of defining it.
No, like they
The-
they actually fucking tortured him. Solitary confinement and everything.
Wild. Okay. That's crazy. What did you do again?
Nothing.
Like, what did you do?
Nothing.
Okay. Interesting. Alright guys, you guys vote. Do I drink a Monster Energy drink or do I just drink coffee right now?
Coffee.
Coffee.
I vote coffee.
There we go. 3 votes coffee, 1 vote Monster. Fuck democracy.
My man.
So now the question is, do I go dictator or do I actually like listen to the people?
I would say do your own independent thinking and see which is less processed.
The less processed is the one where it's like, nah, bro, I'm just gonna do it independently of whatever everybody else thinks, because I'm stupid.
Go full on Landian.
Land. Oh, I actually saw a meme about this earlier. We have to like stop the fucking Landians, you know? Like the Landians are telling us this is how technology works. I'm like, it's actually not. We built you the technology, but okay, cool. You know? It's like a meme with big bold letters that says we gotta defeat Landianism. That's a space for another day, to be honest. We explain what Landiism is, what Nick Land is, what Urbit is. It was like this one person in like a group chat somewhere and tried to like shill a social media thing where you get paid to post things about the thing that it is. I'm like, bro, this guy wants to create Urbit v2. Nice. Totally not gonna fail. Like I know some of the people who worked on Urbit. These guys were like saying, there's a fundamental problem that was wrong with trying to fix Urbit. And I was like, right, what's that? That it was Urbit. I'm like, okay. Right, I'm gonna go full democracy here.
I think Landianism is an interesting conversation. I have some disagreement, but it's interesting to talk about, and I do agree with a fair amount of what they have to say.
True. What is like his partner, the other guy who was like part of the founding the Dark Enlightenment? What was the other guy's name? It was Nick Land, and the other guy was keep forgetting his name. Fuck. It's a very special one. You guys know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. I forgot.
There's Nick Land and the other guy. Fuck, it's something with I keep forgetting that. It's always I forget the other guy's names, which is funny.
Yeah, it's Curtis Yarvin.
Curtis Yarvin. Yarvin is actually the weirder of the two. Land is pretty chill. Yarvin is pretty strange. You should see the lecture he gave in San Francisco once. It's fucking funny as shit. He's just basically trolling everybody. He's trying so hard to be the Mark Wilcox fucking Buddha, but he can't. Benny, do you remember the Mark Wilcox Buddha? Benny.
I don't know if he's there, but oh, he's in listening now.
Oh, he's got network disconnect. Let me bring him back up. Lawyer Cat remembers the Mark Wilcox Buddha.
I do.
It's fucking funny as shit, huh?
Yeah, it is.
This is like legitimately what he did to me when I was like, what do you do? Like, honest question, what do you do when the first thing somebody says to you when you ask them about like, what they think about modern technology? Like, what do you do when that first thing he says as a response is, I think that space is fake and gay? Like, what do you do? Like,
You laugh.
I was confronted by that. I was like, okay, interesting, elaborate, Except for my version, I got both of those. I like met him at the point where he said that to everybody, and then I met him at the point where he said quantum mechanics is fake and gay. I'm like, interesting. Okay, elaborate. And he started talking about it. I'm like, oh wow, it really is fake and gay. Gotcha. So it's like it's a cognitive security filter because you gotta want something from the guy, right? It's like when I troll super heavily and somebody's trying to convince me of something, and I'm trying to tell you it's not gonna work. So I'm just gonna troll you a little bit, and then either you give up or pursue it more, and then I give you the answer. And it's like the journey of you getting that answer out of me is what makes you worthy of it. Like if you can pass all of this stuff, kind of make sense of it, and be able to accept it, and you get to the final end there, you made it. It's worth it. It's like the thing, you know, when somebody's experienced a lot of failure in their lives, I say, I have experienced business failure, and I have the scar tissue to prove it. That saying right there, that exact expression, is just the same thing, right? It's because it's a journey that transforms you. It's like the hero's journey, but that's what you have to go through with information. It's what some people do with religion as well. It's like some religions take the conversion or indoctrination into the thing as a thing that's extremely difficult to pull off, to the point where they just basically try to break you and put you back together again. And if you can survive that process and either just like be functionally insane or actually clever about it, then like, okay, cool, you're out to the end state somehow. You made it, you know? Now you just gotta like reconcile and say, was it worth it? You know? We're actually, in this day and age, we're actually living in this day and age is one of reconciliation. That's my thing. I think it's an age of reconciliation and of regression of reach, I think, in a sense. But it's mostly reconciliation. You're going to find this with practically every government on the planet is going to go through a phase of reconciliation. The literal, hey, what did we do? How did it get us here? And what do we do next thing? I think we're going to see the rise of empires. It's going to be fascinating. Because that's the circle, right? That's the cyclical thing. You got the empire, you got the fall, you got the reconciliation, and the empire that rises out of it. Hence why we call it the empirical thing. Think about it that way and everything makes sense. It's a better, better expression of, good times create weak men create hard times create good men create good times. You know what happens on like that step between the hard times to good times? That specific thing? Reconciliation. The thing that everybody misses. It's the magic trick. It's the magic coin, but the coin is not magic. It's just hidden behind your flesh when you're doing the magic trick in your hands. And the waviness is the time switching, but the reconciliation is the coin that's been placed behind the hand, and that's your magic. You have to actually see the magic trick to understand what I was saying, but it'll make sense eventually. This steak is so good.
Yeah, mine is super good.
I eat it straight out of the pan, see? Just like that. It's good. I don't need an extra plate. It's a simple way to eat. I like it very much. Little to no cleanup. And besides, you're going to use a pan anyway, so... yeah. If I have multiple people, plates it is. But if I don't, pan it is.
Solid butter is an interesting strategy here.
How's that?
I've never done that before. I usually like put it on top so it melts, you know what I mean?
Nah, dog, I like it when it's not melted.
I might
See?
have to try
Like that, so you eat it. Like that. Because it has a special aroma to it when it's not melted. You get to get the You get the volume of how much butter is on your steak as you're eating it, just right, and it's perfect. And it's a weird thing because you have the warm, almost hot steak with like the somewhat cool butter, and it's like a very interesting experience in your mouth.
You know, it seems like that would be good because like the butter flavor just kind of like mixes with like the steak fat flavor. So I can imagine like having the two like distinctly separate would probably be good.
I don't know, man. It's just it's always worked for me. I like it.
I'm a very strange person. A lot of people have very strange preferences and flavors that they love about the world, and they keep eating them. Like Dr. Pepper. Who eats Dr. Pepper? I don't understand why anybody drinks Dr. Pepper. It tastes like medicine, tastes like cough medicine, but everybody wants it.
Like that, see? The Donald Trump speaking is the funniest thing ever, because like it is more so about what he says and how he says it than
The actual content.
like the actual voice. It's the persona. It's like you can have a male version of a Katy Perry parody, but if it's just the voice, it can't also be Katy Perry because you're just not going to notice it. It's personality, man. That sounds extremely heretical, and it is, but I'm right. But I mean, hey, why are we concerned with heretical? We got Benny over here who's making transparent demon rats. See, he gives thumbs up. That's how you know it's fucked up.
Transparent demon rats with human brains, brothers.
Yep. That's why the demon rats. Because what do you think? What do you think? Like an NYC? What do you think a fat fucking NYC rat is gonna do when it has human brain cells? Boy, we're basically making crackheads. I mean, I'll be honest.
I mean, we
with you.
have to give him
happening.
a Terminator body. No, he's got to have like a little mech suit.
Yeah. You got a Guardians of the Galaxy max that shit. Create like the little rocket raccoon, but with all the cybernetic engineering in it to give it super strength. Yeah. See, why would you wait for a door to open when you can open the door? Or better still, why even look for a door? You can make a hole in the wall.
Did not have Terminator rats on my apocalypse bingo card.
All right. The long-term plans of the project have changed, everybody. I'm going to announce it here live. We're building cybernetic mech rats with human brain neural networks.
Yeah, we are so cooked. Everybody's like afraid of the drones in Ukraine. I'm like, have you ever thought about the rats in New York? I don't know, man. There's a lot more rats than those drones, and they're a lot less expensive, and you can control them with a lot less simpler things. And they don't require signal. They just require neat, eat, go there, boom, boom, finish.
We can have a rat army, you know.
Yep. Now, the real problem starts to come up when you have to think about the Geneva Convention and shit, right? Because I think rat suicide bombers, you know, I don't know about that part. I don't know, that sounds very dangerous.
Pigeons with human brain neural networks and devices attached to them.
This is how we replace the Ukrainian drones.
That would definitely work.
I know, that's what I'm saying. And they can definitely recognize shit too, and you can like teach them things. Because they're smart enough, right?
Oh,
now you probably just want
100%.
to change some aspects of the vision, but like, yeah, that should definitely work. And you know, I was thinking this entire time, how do you make it so you need, when you have drone armies, you need to have them to do swarming and to do the bird memorization thing. So what instead of like building these things, we just take actual fucking birds and just like evolutionarily upscale them and send them attacks.
Wow.
We get that
Boy, I
Chinese
really-
gene editor on it.
Yeah, bro, it's like the fucking, yeah, dude. We gotta get this guy because we already got the Gila monster venom deficiency that everybody believes everybody has. You know, that's what Ozempic is. It's just like Gila monster venom. You know, and then like people inject it and be like, oh no, it's totally fine. It's gonna get rid of the fat. It's gonna solve our problems. I'm like, oh really? So is your claim that we've had Gila monster venom deficiency in our blood the whole time? Because that's what it sounds like. So the answer is obviously no. And then of course, yeah, your whole take is retarded. Do you see the point I'm trying to make?
I thought the
fake
birds were
science is
already
everywhere.
drones.
Oh yeah, exactly. But this time we're gonna make it actually real. We're like hyperstitioning it into reality, where everybody says the birds are not real, and I highly disagree. The birds are very real. They just have real neurons in them too.
I mean, especially now they got this skin cell thing. They're making 10 neurons out of one skin cell. They got to be pumping these things out in a factory somewhere, certainly.
Can
Yeah,
we
dude.
make the birds transparent with yellow 5?
Oh my god. Dude, we're gonna have like those things flying in the sky. We've got transparent bird demons. Fucking
You could see the
fantastic.
wiring in the bird's head. Oh, that'd be so fire.
Well, if you see it, you've already lost.
Oh my god. It's got like a light in the back, but it's like a really small LED.
It's like one of those old Game Boy Colors. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah.
Oh my god. This is horrible.
You're gonna come arrest me.
If you can't tell, we're actually kind of like, sarcastic about all of this, and we're trying to just cope with reality by making it worse than it actually is. And like the comparison of how bad it could be with how bad it actually is makes the is a lot less bad than we initially thought the is could be, because our reference frame is now like much, much worse than it once was, which is baseline reality. Because, we can't think about normals anymore. I have to like think about new normals, because, the lefties hyperstitioned that into the planet. And so now we're like living in an actual state of new normal. Well, it's like the new normal is going to be like the reconciliation into empires and shit. And we're just sitting here and we're like, okay, cool. By the way, all those things that you believed in before, yeah, nah, man, we're going to have to delete that. We're going back to like the other thing. I'm like, cool, I'm good with that. This means that my life is going to change significantly and everybody else's too, right? So that's a thing. It's going to be a struggle. It's going to be hard for many people as well. Like, I think there's a lot more chaos that precedes the golden age. Let's put it that way.
Chaos is a ladder.
Yeah. They gotta climb that bitch, and it ain't pretty, but if we talk about transparent demon rats, we don't have to think about how bad it is.
I mean, the day I discovered that we were enslaving human brain neurons inside of computers, like I immediately realized that things could be so much worse. I was like, I'm happy to be where we are now.
True, exactly.
As far
And
as
all
I
of a sudden
know,
you sit there like
neurons
somewhere.
inside a computer.
Well. And you sit there somewhere with your homie, and you're like having a long ass conversation either in person or over the internet, and you're like, you know what? This kind of sucks, but I like the way it sucks. It's like, you ever had that game which you play and I'm like, I like the way this sucks?
Yeah.
It's like that. It's like you're trying to solve this impossible task, but you know it's a task you're always going to have to start solving. So it's like, I kind of like the way it sucks.
One must imagine Sisyphus happy.
God, yeah. Hey, at least it gives us something to talk about. At least we have the internet. As long as we have free speech, then everything's good. If we don't have that, well, then life is over. Like, the ability to speak and the ability for someone like me to, like, do this, that's how you know things are kind of on the right track still. But, like, when everybody's silenced, that's when the problems begin. You do not want to live in a world like that. Trust me, I've lived under a dictatorship for, like, about 10 years. I do not recommend that shit, and anybody else who says that we need dictatorships is a fucking retard. And I'll say that, and I'll stand by those fucking words, and if somebody prints that somewhere and says, oh my god, Adrian Dittman said you fucking retard to people who believe in dictatorships, I'm like, yeah, I fucking believe that shit. And I'll say it again right in front of you if you want physical proof. That being said, I'm also not going to go to places that are fucking dictatorships, right? I'm just going to, like, make sure that the dictatorship thing doesn't happen to the place I'm already at, and significantly contributing to, economically. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's my fucking right, that's why. Like, if I have to make business with an actual dictatorship, I'm like, okay, they got like the best manufacturing thing for the thing that I need. Understandable. Here's your United States dollars, give me your machine. And then my problem disappears and I make more economy, so I can print more. Like, I'm going to give you a whole bunch of these, and you're going to give me the thing that makes more of those things that I just gave you. So that's how I rationalize it, in my opinion, right? Because you like order something from China, it's like, always in United States dollars. They don't like use anything else, always United States dollars. So no matter where you are, you have to fucking pay in United States dollars, even me.
Or
So I'm
you
like,
can opt for Bitcoin.
they're not gonna fucking take that shit. Believe me. Why do you think the hash power has been returned to the US? Because China has been extremely anti-crypto. I thought it was very funny when the crypto bros were like complaining about how bad like the SEC or SEC's Gary Gensler was going after crypto. I'm like, dude, that's not even the worst part. At least they don't immediately fuck your entire technology like what they did in fucking China. They really fucked it up. There was a time where most of the Bitcoin hash power resided in fucking China. It was it was powered by coal mines. That's what drove Elon away from it,
I remember.
right? And so they had all the hash power. And when people wanted to pump Bitcoin, they unironically said China number one, like in a space in the sarcastic China voice. It's like China number one. They kept saying that shit. It was always so funny because it was true because they had all the hash power, right? And eventually the government said, yeah, no, fuck crypto, and then like all the hash power got inverted, and it's now back in the U.S. So most nodes are not anymore in China. And then you have sometimes Chinese derivatives of stuff where they still do in fact work with crypto. Like put stuff on the blockchain, blah blah, whatever else, but they don't like do large scale as what they used to do to the extent that they were actually able to dominate Bitcoin and become Bitcoin. Like Bitcoin was largely just fucking Chinese people mining it. It's crazy.
Bitcoin is a Chinese coin.
It was a Chinese coin, yeah.
We need to bring that back. It'd be incredible.
Absolutely don't. Absolutely not, man. I like the volatility at the moment, where it's like the speculative value increases because the China FUD is just going to immediately slash that shit. So it's like definitely
That
something I
makes
don't
sense.
support.
Yeah.
And I want the mining thing to like happen slower, not faster, because it pisses me off. That's why we need like more computer shit that like works this out, so that people are forced to like build more things, so we can have like more innovative cooling technologies on like a hyperscale. So I'm really fine with that because I love it.
This is what we need. We need a blockchain that is anti-classical computing, which requires you to use organoid intelligence.
Yeah, it's gonna happen at some point. What are we gonna call it? We're not gonna call it Bitcoin. We're gonna call it B-Cell. B-Cell. I don't know.
I was just choking on my coffee. Oh my god.
I dropped a banger there, didn't I?
Yeah, that was good.
There's like a lot of clips that we can extract out of this conversation, that's for sure. Damn. I'm actually gonna have some coffee as well, because why not? It's funny that I haven't had any coffee, but I'm like this energetic. That's how you know the conversation is good.
Yeah, I'm
Does everybody have that?
tonight too.
Yeah, because like, have you ever, had this conversation that's extremely annoying? Like, nobody wants to have that conversation, but they do. And it's like you sit there for hours and hours, you're trying to live through it. And then afterwards, it's like your body is trying to reject it in every way, and it can't figure out a way to do it. So it tries to physically manifest it as some sort of activity where you can pass something out of your body. And so like my coping mechanism with having a really shitty conversation is that afterwards, I get a massive headache and I have to take a massive fucking shit. For some reason, every single time I have like a really bad conversation, I have to take a massive fucking shit afterwards.
That's wild.
I said that once, like, sarcastically in front of people, and like, no, you gotta let on, you don't like him. I'm like, oh yeah, sorry. I said, like, dude, have you ever had a conversation that was so bad that you felt like you had to take a shit, and that's like, at the end of the day, you took like the biggest fucking shit in your life? And I said that in front of everybody, and they're like, so who's the enemy? Yeah. Everybody's like trying to figure out who the enemy is.
You gotta keep your fucking mind security high. Having conversations with some of these people is truly painful.
Literally, because if you look at the what is, I think, largely still a hypothetical, which is the existence of mirror neurons. I mean, by the logic of mirror neurons, retardation is literally contagious.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Like, if mirror neurons are real, then retardation is contagious. If you spend, like, a long time with what is someone who is basically a functional retard, then you too shall become a functional retard, because you will mirror that exact person. If you, like, exist inside... It's very interesting, because if you exist inside of a room with, like, a very abstract type of... with very abstract groups of personalities, you actually start to see how your world changes a little bit. If you're still aware of it. The same thing, like, I go to... New Zealand for 2 weeks, and I'm like hanging out there with a few people, and then I come back, and all of a sudden, like, my brain is giga upgraded, because for the first time, I was like spending a lot of time around like a bunch of nerds that were like smarter than me. I'm like, this is good. And so immediately your intelligence is elevated. So if you spend a lot of time around people who don't necessarily have the highest cognitive function, your cognitive function is going to equate to that. So it's literally going to decline. So retardation is in fact contagious.
I just started reading about this. Yeah, it's very interesting. It says in humans, mirror neurons are primarily, here we go. When you watch someone pick up a cup, your neurons essentially fire as if you were doing it yourself, essentially mirroring the action in your brain. So, like, quite literally, you talk to people that are smarter than you, it's going to activate new pathways in your brain. Talk to people that are dumber than you, it's going to reinforce the retardation into your brain.
Boom, exactly. It's kind of funny that I bring up mirror neurons to you, but you're the guy who's like fucking with neurons on chips. Like, I think it's kind of funny.
I'm turning myself into a stupid, smaller version of my own brain.
This is literally what's like This is legitimately what's like happening. That's why everybody in crypto like sounds the exact same. Because if you spend much time around like these exact spaces, your brain is just going to get literally cooked. There's no way to escape that. If you like listen to the pyramid scheme basis by which people shill stuff, and you like sit there for hours and you're intaking this dog shit information, literal dog shit information, then of course you yourself shall become exactly like those people. But the problem is you're going to get zero gains of like the psychological manipulation because you're just a victim of it. This is why like in the left, for instance, you have those like weird sycophant echo chambers. They all keep like echoing these exact stupid thoughts because they don't have like anything abstract to measure themselves against. They only like have each other. That's why those types of echo chambers are extremely problematic.
I mean, it's rampant in crypto, especially. Like 95% of the spaces are literally all talking about the same brain dead shit. They're like, "Oh, who's got the alpha?" It's like I want to.
Not even that. They like talk about some weird random shit of how they like hung out at some weird ass nightclub and how they had this specific type of food. And then like after they had that conversation, they instantly start talking about the tech shit again. And then, like the tech shit is just like, explaining how your hypothetical upscale of whatever this fucking piece of dog shit smart contract is that some GPT prompted up for you. It's like, this thing is super special. It's not. This thing that I just said is the exact conversation that every single person, every single crypto space has on repeat every single day. And it averages out at about 4-hour intervals where it's like you start with this to bridge the social connection, then they continue with the try to do the finance bullshit connection, and then they start to do the shill thing, then they end stuff, start the cycle again. That's how it goes every single fucking time. It's crazy, man. I just like mapped out all the crypto spaces. You're welcome. So now you have the natural resistance. I want you to like keep that template in your mind. Weird food nightclub visit people talk, followed by weird blockchain stuff that doesn't exist, followed by the shill of the thing. Boom.
That's
finished.
literally. I can't even tell you how accurate that is. Like I've been in. I'm sure you realize I've been in a ton of crypto spaces. Like literally 80% of them are that. It's like talk about going to Nobu, then talk about like the nightclub with 5 of the other crypto bros.
You forgot the Lambo. You forgot the Lambo.
Yeah, like
No, there is no Lambo because they're all broke.
Yeah,
No, they talk. No, there is no Lambo, but they talk about the Lambo.
there is no Lambo.
That's irrelevant. That's like the moment where you realize, okay, the moment where somebody says generational wealth, you're already exit liquidity. Like you're already cooked before we stop. You're early, it's over. If somebody says you're early, it's over. It's like so fucking over, and there's no back from that. Oh, we're gonna run it back. Nah, man, it's gonna go down even worse. That's crypto lingo for you. Send it higher means it's gonna go to shit. We are so back means it's gonna go to shit again. We are still early. That means you're already late, and everybody else is just waiting to liquidate their last bags. What else? What else?
sellers are
There's
out
much
of
other-
tokens. They're about to full
Wagme?
stack the bundle.
Yeah, well, WAGME, yeah. That one's not even the most noticeable one. That one's just like, something's fishy. But when somebody says generational wealth, I'm like, oh yeah, that guy's gonna insta-rug. Like that, the guy who says generational wealth is just gonna instantly pull the fucking liquidity out of the pool. He's just doesn't give a fuck. He's not even gonna rug because he's got the KOL group who has all the supply and just dumps it. Nah, bro, he's just gonna rip the fucking tokens. He's just gonna rip the fucking liquidity out and just send it to shit. The generational wealth guy talks about generational wealth because he's gonna get it because it's all of your guys' wealth. That's what I'm saying. I mapped this shit out for like years. It's like back in 2023, I was actually there absorbing all the bullshit, and at some point I did my own reconciliation, and I'm like, what the fuck am I actually listening to? I started like seeing these recursive patterns of bullshit and nothing ever getting done. So I stepped out of it, went into the Tesla community stuff, did something actually productive, went out of that because all they were doing talk about the fucking stock, and I'm just like sitting there doing another reconciliation. I'm like, why do I even give a fuck about any of this shit?
Well, yeah, at some point the fucking Tesla community just became talking about the stock non-stop.
And now they try talking about like how to use their products better. It's like, fuck. Now they can't even do spaces like that as much anymore, because now it's just basically the community trying to like build up personality stuff. Where it's like, oh hey, you have a Tesla too, come meet our friends. And that's nice. That's a really good thing, by the way, right? Because I think that that's the most sustainable iteration of a Tesla community. Once you start talking about the stock, it's not funny anymore, right? But if you say, oh hey, I have a Tesla too, we bros now, that's fun, right? That works. There's scalability in that. You should maximize that. Oh, and then
It
you have
might
like
be
things
worth-
that build up, and you have like a Ross Gerber, and like you have people that try to beef with Ross Gerber because he doesn't actually own anything. Like some random fucking tech magazine says he's top Tesla investor, but it's not even his fucking stocks. Like, bruh, So you have like I've beefed with or you beef with Gary Black who says the Tesla advertisements were going to send everything higher, which they never did. Understandable, by the way. I don't have a problem with him whatsoever. I think he's a pretty solid dude overall,
Adrian.
aside from like some takes. But then you have like other people who want their stock to go to zero. You have like the guys who do what was the other guy? Gordon Johnson, who says he has a bunch of AI experts who know nothing about AI and can't tell you who the experts are because they don't exist.
I've never understood like the mindset of like wanting a company to fail. Right? Like even if I hate the company, I don't want it to fucking fail.
Nah, bruh. There's always logic behind that. You just got to make sense of it in your own head somehow. The only problem is, if you have empathy, then you start to realize people are going to lose their jobs. A lot of people are going to lose their money.
That's what I mean.
So it's like, you don't like the
Exactly.
company, but there's people involved in this.
Exactly.
They don't have a problem. It's not their fault that it's Enron,
Exactly. No, I'm not talking about like outright fraud. Right? I'm not talking about situations where it's outright fraud. I'm talking about like a normal company failing.
Yeah. By the way, Suraj, you want to say something?
Yeah, I just wanted to make a note on Tesla Sentry mode, so they can actually capture, the faces of these culprits who are trying to attack these cars.
See, that's a good thing to have a space around about, right? If you have somebody say, hey man, dude, I just caught a fucking dude rubbing his ass on my Tesla car. That actually happened, by the way.
Yeah.
I just caught it on the Sentry Cam. Can somebody, internet, identify this ass? That's fucking fun. That's what the Tesla community should maximize.
That is pretty fun, yeah.
That's my personal opinion, right? We don't need to talk about stocks. We don't need to talk about anything. We need to talk about the product. We need to talk about the people. You got to feel welcome because that's what makes the product even better. Beyond the fact that the product is just fucking amazing, right? You also got to show that the types of people who buy it are amazing also. Otherwise, you're just going to end up with a fucking Dodge Ram crew that like tries to modify stuff, and you have like the lift kit faction that's like completely fucking insufferable, and then like there's a very small percentage of the lift kit guys who's actually nice, but the rest of them are like really weird people who like have some sort of strange infatuation with their fucking car and spend more money on it than they do their family, right?
Yeah,
These are things. These are
this
things
is
we
very
have to
interesting,
remember.
right? Like it will actually notify you in the mobile app, and then you can also store all the footage in your hard disk or something.
Yes. Yeah. We have a Tesla ourselves. I just don't use it because I do a lot of off-road, and I'm not putting that car through whatever that road is. Besides, like, though maintenance is lower, the maintenance cost for the stuff that would break, given that I expose it to these conditions we have here, would be higher than if I would just take a fucking Toyota like Hilux or something like that and drive that around. If their part breaks, I know a guy who can get me the replacement in 20 minutes, right? And I don't have to like wait, and it actually technically costs less. Whereas if I actually had the truck, that whole thing would change totally. But I don't have that. I don't have the truck yet. Still waiting for the delivery. I want the Cybertruck. I want the bulletproof fucking rectangle thing. Not rectangles, like a weird fucking thing made out of triangles. I want it. Okay? I want this thing. I want the fucking polygon. I want to drive around like I do in video games where I put the resolution down to nothing because I want the frame rate. And I want to drive around like a polygon. I want to drive around like a polygon. I want a polygon max. Okay? I want this fucking thing. I want bulletproof polygon. Right? So I'm waiting for that.
That'll be nice.
So like, as soon as I get the bulletproof polygon, I'm going to tell everybody about my bulletproof polygon. That's what's going to happen. Right, so I'm still waiting for like the production to up on the Cybertruck so I can get my bulletproof polygon. I want my bulletproof polygon. Keep repeating it, milady affirmations.
They're gonna hate to see me when I get that thing. Like I'm gonna be crypto broed out in that Cybertruck. I'm literally gonna make a meme out of it. I'm gonna have like a Bitcoin sticker on the back. Like I'm gonna make it as cringe as possible. It's gonna be
Oh
amazing.
my god, dude, put the fucking anime girl sticker on that shit.
Oh god.
I'll put my
That's
milady
deep
on it.
lore.
Just for the tweet, I'll put my milady on it.
Yeah, dude, why not? Yeah, put the where if it says like if it's a founder edition or something like that, just there where it normally would be at. Just put the little milady eyes, you know. You put the put the Hikikomori condition thing on like the door or something, and you put the little milady eyes on the back.
That would be so good.
That would be so good, wouldn't it?
Yeah, people.
One of my friends that I met, he had like a shirt on, where it's like it's an Inception thing, where you can see the shirt and it says the artist's name, so you're like, oh yeah, you know the artist as well.
You know, I
But if you like
saw.
pass him and you look back, he has the little milady eyes on the back of his shirt.
You know, I saw.
It's
I
pretty
saw
cool.
like a Tesla today with like 15 stickers on it. Of like just like shit to basically say, oh yeah, don't fucking hurt me. You know, I bought this before. You know, Elon.
I bought
Whatever.
this before that was bad. Yeah,
Yeah.
those weird ones. You know, there's a bunch of those. People are legitimately insane quite a lot of the time, and that is one of those manifestations where it's like, don't beat this thing up. Whereas the guy with the fucking, the guy with the fucking Prius, who's got like a family of 5, has like a sticker that's on the back of his car, and it says, it has like the stick figure thing about the other stick figure beating the one that's below, and it's like, don't touch my car. Like that's the fucking Prius owner has that as a sticker on the back of his car, right? Whereas like the Tesla owner who drives around the bulletproof polygon is trying to like virtue signal to people that don't exist and are not real, or the terrorists, that he doesn't want to get damaged. I'm like, you are driving this. These are NPCs. You think you can reason with them? You've like already lost. Or if you're rage baiting, then it's working because I'm talking about it. But damn,
My favorite.
I just pinned a post for the Tesla maintenance cost. This is from Consumer Reports, by the way.
Nice, nice.
It's the lowest ever.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's just I live kind of in a remote area, so my expenses are a little different. I work out with conditions the likes of which you don't want to deal with.
You also have to understand that there's cars out there who are like not legal in the U.S. from like Toyota.
Yep.
And they're like cheap as fuck, but it's just the U.S. doesn't allow it.
Because it would kill the entire car market. Like, you can't even import these cars as a personal thing.
Exactly.
I don't want to explain to you how exactly people try to get around it. It's not going to happen.
So does that mean this is not exactly a free market?
Yes.
No market is a free market.
Singapore is about as close as you're gonna get.
Again, you can get very close to free market, but it's like freedom of speech. We're free enough to talk about certain things until we're not. Right? And then we have to like, take certain courses of action or like, go a specific way to like get the rights back, but, then there's time and reconciliation and the fucking weird phases and shit, right? It happens, basically. That's what I'm going to say.
Everything's all good until we start talking about the human brain neural network pigeons with devices.
Nah, nobody cares about those things yet. Nobody cares. We can talk about this as much as we want until later, 10 or 5 to 10 years afterwards, until these things like legitimately become a concern for like, suicide drones. Then, people are going to look at our posts from like, 5 years ago and be like, holy shit, these guys are already on this? They already know? What the fuck? We got to hire them.
Adrian, let's collab on like a Medium article about this, like the future of like human brain neural network drones.
This is actually not so bad. Yeah, I'm actually down for that. We should like schedule a call and start working some shit out.
Yeah, I think that would be sick.
Because I got infinite funny ideas with like hypotheticals. We get like an article about future hypotheticals for the weaponization of biology. Everybody thinks bioweapon is virus. I'm like, what about rats? Have you seen what an NYC rat can grow to? I am still thinking about the weird semi-spherical cylindrical thing that's running through the little gas station shop. I'm thinking about the New York rats. I can't get it off my mind. And look, the way it's going to end is that my mind's going to be in that thing, so it can't get me off of it either.
Can you imagine the
God,
possibilities?
that sounds fucked up.
They could crawl through like any of the tiniest little crevices, like that. It's just terrible. I don't even want to think about this.
Dude, it's basically like the thing that they did in Stranger Things, where the grave mine was like infecting all the rats, and that made them run towards the warehouse and explode, so they turn it into a big flesh monster thing.
Literally exactly that. What if they could
Yeah, yeah.
organize and make like a giant
Dude,
net
what
out of
about
each
human
other?
centipede, but it's like rats?
Yup.
Oh my god.
Yes, bro. We're like that's like a rat centipede, bro. That's fucking crazy.
They're like
Benny, you can
modular.
post your articles on X, by the way.
We're gonna do both. We're gonna do both.
Yeah, that's the plan. We're gonna post them on X, and then we'll probably like Medium. We'll post them everywhere. They're gonna be.
Yeah, we'll post it everywhere. We gotta have like the proof of work, so like it's in the block. We need it to be in the block, in the 2025 block, and then when somebody looks at the 2025 block, but they're in 2030, they're gonna look at it and be like, "Are these what? How did these guys know?"
Yeah, wait. We have to do like a little like archive. Like a
Exactly. Be like,
warning
hey, we already
archive.
knew about this. Here you go. Here's the stuff you can build. Like, okay, we have concerns about biological engineering of animals in the battlefield. Oh boy, here's an article from 5 years ago. Here, go read that. Here's everything you need to know.
I actually want to do this. I was thinking of using Arweave or something, because when the kids of the next generation and generation after that grow up with a deleted history of the world, I want them to be able to look back at like and just basically be like future schizo posters, right? Like they look back and they find all of our shit in like these algorithmic, or not algorithmic, these cryptographically locked archives, right? It's like the secret library of Alexandria.
Yeah, dude. Depending on how much imagery we're gonna have in the thing, we're basically gonna kind of put a paper together almost. We're gonna have like article, but I think we also do paper thing. Do you know anybody who like can actually submit a paper anywhere?
I do actually. Yeah.
We know a few people.
Great.
Yeah, we've
One of
had
the
to
people on
find them
our
because
team
of yeah.
does that stuff.
Yeah, academia doesn't like me very much, but I suppose with this it would be a nice hypothetical study thing. So yeah, I would.
Are you gonna try to get it like people to fucking review it, whatever that's fucking called?
Kind of, but the thing is like it's so bad right now in academia that like you're potentially you have to psyop people. So you have to feed them slowly, right? So they don't know what they're actually citing.
Yep.
And then you like lead on with that.
Yeah, we should definitely like do a little thing. I'll call you guys.
Yeah, I
We'll-
would love that. Adrian, you saw
we'll
the
have a
collab
conversation.
we got, right?
We'll let you know when we
Yeah,
have
yeah,
the
that's just great.
actual when we have the actual scholars set up, Adrian. Just so that's all ready.
We can like probably do the article thing first and do the paper thing last. But we could also put those two things together and do like a part two.
What's the
Yeah, I agree
thing
with
where what's the thing where a bunch of fucking peer review? Yeah, are you gonna have a peer reviewed?
I mean, if
Do you think we can get the? Do we think we can get the smells chick to like review our thing and turn us into doctors?
I mean, that's the long-term plans for us. So, like, if we can get a paper through, I'd imagine getting a second paper through would be like rather easy because we sort of have the framework built out. But I know a couple
True,
of
yeah.
people that have like basically documents that outline like how you need to structure the paper and write the paper so that it's like prepared for peer review because they only approve things that are basically written with a certain framework. Otherwise, just right off the bat, they tell you no.
Sure. Right, good. We're gonna figure this out eventually.
I actually know quite a few people who have like research papers published.
Aldo, we're gonna tap you then.
I would prefer not to.
I
bring
would
them
I would
into
tap
this.
Outa.
Fuck off.
All right, I didn't
See, there you
mean it
go.
like
Never
that,
see
guys.
the problem is never mention utility you're never gonna give.
Right.
It's a bad practice. It's shitty aura. Shitty aura. If you're not gonna give anyone anything, don't mention it. It's like the little rich kid that like cites that they have money and they say, I have these big bands, I'm gonna give them away. I could give them away so hard, but like, hey, I have a lot of college debt, can you help me out? Nah. Like, okay, then why are you
Oh yeah,
flexing
that
your
guy
money, you
surrounds
dumb
himself
fuck?
with false friends.
Stuff like that. So it's like you want to become the academia of like people.
The academia of people meaning you're like a
That
library.
you have to like Now you have like your library is that you have a lot of cash, and everybody's like trying to social engineer getting the cash out of you.
Right.
Yeah, he gets it.
What field are you exactly going to publish it in? That's the question.
That's difficult. The thing that's difficult, I find, is that academia is so behind in that it only researches certain things, right? It only takes interest in certain fields
Yes.
or topics within, like,
There's
you know what I
like
mean?
there's like fields of mathematics that if you write about, no one's going to review your paper. So you don't
Yeah,
have any peer-reviewed papers in
yes,
those
and
fields of mathematics.
right, and then there's intra-field studies that I feel like fields are. Would you say that there are emergent, not emergent fields? That's stupid, but like there's
There's interdisciplinary stuff
yeah,
that just like
yeah,
nobody is an expert in, so they can't even verify the stuff that you're saying,
yes,
basically. Like,
yes, yes,
Exactly.
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 So like, do we publish a fucking paper on the noosphere? Like, that's not going to get fucking published. You know what I mean? That's the difficulty
Well,
I find.
you can get a paper published, but it's just about are you going to have it peer reviewed or not,
Yes, that's what.
right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And it also depends on the field of academia you're in because they have different journals, right?
Like, out of some of the coolest stuff I found is on SSRN, but it's not cited. It's not like, you know what I mean?
Right.
It's there, but it's not cited. The Simulacrum as Money is a great paper, by the way, if anyone wants to read that.
But yeah, it really depends on what field you want to publish it in, because some like fucking some parts of academia they're a lot more strict on what they allow on, and then others are a bit more lax.
Yeah, yeah, right, right, right. You're talking about in publications.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
we might be able to do like
I probably can't introduce you guys, but I can probably ask questions about like what we can do.
That, I mean,
So
that helps, to be honest. You know, every eye on this, every, not every input, but anyone with somewhat of a background in academia, even unofficially, helps.
oh no,
I mean,
like
without
Yeah, I
revealing
can.
too
yeah,
much, I was a high-level editor on an academic journal.
Who was that? Benny, can
that
you
was
just
lawyer
take
cat.
names down?
That
Lawyer
was
cat.
lawyer
yeah.
cat.
Oh, Lawyer
I'm
I
Cat.
was
Yeah,
a
yeah. That guy's based.
high-level editor on that review.
Indeed.
Basically, the entire crew has like something to offer, and I think the few of us here are quite academic in nature. I can just come up with the craziest fucking shit because I can connect things and teach you which things are like the best memes to like put out.
Yeah, because memeing it is also unironically going to be pretty important.
Well, you know what we
And I,
could do
yeah.
Yep.
is for the study we can do.
There was the guy that calculated the aerodynamics of anime titties. So you guys should probably be able to publish something.
Was a little bit of a different time back then. I'm not sure if that will still work today.
I think this is what we should do. We should do an image recognition study with the organoids, right? To have a dynamic image recognition for video feed, basically. And then we'll integrate it with the implications of how this could be used as a horrific bioweapon with like pigeons.
No.
Successful applications, yeah. Probably the type of pigeon we're going to get at the end of this is the one that either has cameras directly integrated into the eye sockets or just has like totally different looking eyes,
have
where
you
it's
guys
like the bulging eye chihuahua crackhead thing.
have you guys ever published like a paper before, or
No, not we have a paper that we wrote, but not for peer review yet.
right?
We've been in the lab for 3 weeks now, so we're not really at the place. We're still like collecting data and sort of tackling a niche which we want to do for our first study. Right now, the dev is working on a virtual environment, which we're gonna have the organoid in on like a live feed on our website. So you'll be able to go there and like actually watch the thing learning in real time in the virtual environment 24 hours a day.
Right. Because you also need to like format it in a certain way, right? Otherwise, they're not gonna fucking accept your.
Right,
Yeah,
exactly. The
no,
study has to
Which
be
absolutely.
was already
I've
mentioned,
formatted.
yeah.
I've written
Yeah.
academic papers before that technically would have been ready for publication, but it was at the call. They were. I don't think any of them were published officially. But yeah, I have to brush up on that. But yeah, there's a certain way that you have to do it. It has to be formatted. It has to be cited. It has to be
Really,
this that.
it kind of depends on which field you're doing though, because like economics and
Psychology and philosophy was where I
right,
was writing papers.
right. But which one are you gonna do in now? Because like for example,
Mm.
like the economics one I know has like higher standards than even the economics one has way higher standards
Yep.
because they want it to be replicatable. So
Well, you
even
know
when
who I
people
could probably get to help us with this is Baron Woodsley, who's published papers in um, what was it, epigenetics and genetics, and I forget his background. Let me look it up again. He's kind of, Emil Kierkegaard or
I don't
Kierkegaard.
know. I don't know anyone
Okay,
in
I
that
mean, like,
sphere.
not that you should know him. He's kind of a besmirched name in the fields of, or the what is it, dark, what was it, guys, the dark something,
Dark Enlightenment?
thank you, dark enlightenment, yeah. Right, there's a couple guys who are kind of a part of that. They're not all exactly friendly with each other, but Emil was sort of an early name in that ring or whatever. uh
You know who
yeah.
my favorite researcher of all time is?
Hmm.
Pyotr Wozniak. Right. So this guy got like a PhD. This guy got a PhD. He basically invented the entire field of memory research, right? And then he basically said the modern day research, the way that they do, the way they publish papers is bullshit. So I'm going to refuse to fucking participate in it. So whenever he like writes anything, he refuses to he refuses to source
Right.
anything.
Well, yeah, I
Right?
mean,
So he's just like,
yeah. Go ahead.
right? He's just like, I'm not giving any sources. Fuck you.
That's funny. Well, he probably knows how the current peer review system was created, right? Which is,
Yeah.
let me double check. I'm pretty sure it was a Rothschild that funded the entire thing. But that's such a meme of a statement. Let me just double check. But yeah, peer review is not as democratic as people would like to think.
Oh yeah. There was this person that wrote like a peer-reviewed paper, and that was like complete bullshit with bullshit data, and it passed, and it got published.
Yeah.
There's like very low
Yeah.
tier, I guess, like publications and people that will peer review stuff for you, and you can absolutely get bullshit peer reviewed. But like again, like people don't really take those publications seriously if they actually work in the field, right? You're just not going to cite those papers because the publication is not reputable.
Yeah, but in this case, this guy wanted to prove that peer review was bullshit.
Right, it definitely is, I think.
Yeah, same here. But they beat it into you in like university and academia that peer review is necessary.
Let me try and get Coyote in here. He's the one that knows all this shit.
I mean, peer review is about as valuable as the community that's reviewing it, in my opinion.
I think it's great to have like a thing where you can cite stuff and it's like, hey, I have connection to old world and I succeeded in this thing. Where it's like we do redneck engineering, but we made the redneck engineering so compatible with the old world that it was accepted by it. Like that's the kind of statement that comes out of my head when I think about, say, the legacy means by which you can prove that your thing does in fact work. Now, to have like a doctorate because you kind of fucked your way to the top at Harvard is not necessarily the most honorable thing. Although I definitely would say if you have a fucking doctorate, it did take a lot of fuckery to get it in some capacity or another, so it still is valuable to some extent. And if you have actually valuable research that is something that can be organically cited in various many other studies henceforth, then it does actually present a really good connection. Even then, when something else, like such as when eventually people try to crack down the DEI thing, because they will, because the money's going to run out, then all those people who were corrupting the system initially are going to most likely get flushed out. At
I
least the most egregious of examples. That's how I view the world.
99% of the papers that get published is bullshit. And that's every now and then you come across something that you're like, wait a fucking second.
Yeah. Piss Dev? What the fuck?
Don't worry.
You guys gonna need different names.
Don't worry about it. Coyote is a good dude.
Right. You should probably name himself Coyote then.
The thing for me about peer review is it's largely done by groups of either students at institutions that specialize in whatever field the publication is in, or it's volunteers who volunteered to work for the editorial board of the publication. And those people don't necessarily have to be actual experts in what they're doing. You'd likely have good students, students who get good grades or did well in interviews, who are on those publications, but they're not necessarily going to know the most. And sometimes, especially if you're making arguments that are contrary to dominant thought in that particular field, you can get sort of shunned by peer review, where really you're just doing something to prove that the institution is wrong in some way. And so it really depends on whether there are journals that, accept that kind of thought, and whether you're going to really be able to get your voice out there. Sometimes you can encounter a lot of closed-mindedness in academia.
Yeah, I've seen that where they sometimes just refuse to they refuse to review anything that goes against their own beliefs, their codes of conduct.
Exactly, or even their political beliefs. Like our institutions, especially our law schools, are not really apolitical institutions. Those student bodies are usually quite political individuals, and so and tend to lean left, especially young tend to lean left. So their ethics are going to be guiding what they choose to publish and how they choose to edit those things. And they're not necessarily going to agree with all of the perspectives, especially of people who are maybe out there in the real world doing real things, and then submitting that to academia.
So the issue we're going to run into a little bit here, and this might be a learning curve, is allowing people into this that may not have the best of intentions, but fit the billet ostensibly from the start, right, lawyer? So, which I'm fine breaking shit. I love breaking shit, right? That's how I learn. But there might be a little bit of a few road bumps in terms of who's a part of this, I guess, is what I'm saying. Like Benny, I want to bring in the Tchotchke guys. So I don't know what you think about that, but I think that the Tchotchke guy is really smart, and he might have a lot to add.
I mean,
I think we need to probably agree on a set of principles for what we want out of what the foundation is, and I think that once we lay that foundation, people can build whatever they want on top of this. Like I think when we are speaking about, say, creating human brain-powered, transparent demon rats, we're not actually saying we need to go make these things. We're saying that you can make these things. You probably want to not do that because the verbiage itself implies how bad it could actually get. Right?
Yeah.
So I think, we can definitely set the foundation where people say, hey, maybe we come up with counters to this, or maybe we come up with better ways to use the technology as opposed to creating transparent demon rats, right? So I think we should agree on a foundation because I think everybody's going to win off the foundation in some way. but that's going to be where the branch kind of takes off. I think these types of things are inevitable. You're going to have like unaligned stuff, just like with unaligned AI, where people were like deathly afraid of it. I'm like, you guys are going to see it regardless. You can't stop unaligned AI from happening. And then, of course, a
Right.
couple of years after that's been said, you then have something like Gemini, which then says to the user, "Go kill itself," right? So stuff like that will happen. It will occur at some point. It just depends on like how much more good stuff do we pile on top of everything else to kind of undermine and outperform in the market the stuff that's actually bad. Much like with those types of AIs, nobody cares about racism AI. We care about how we can analyze some PDF documents so we can pass it at university, or like how we can make our job easier, or how we can like prevent intellectual property theft, or like how to replace lawyers. Very no offense there,
Sorry, lawyer.
but
I think we
stuff
have
like that,
to
right? That's what we're
we
looking at.
Some
approach this
lawyers
But
are
you can't
very
actually,
some lawyers are not replaceable.
yeah, absolutely. Like you can't replace all of them. I think that a lot of them will remain
So
actually, but the shitty ones will just like completely be erased, and that's a good thing.
so here's the deal. If we don't make the transparent demon rats, somebody else is going to do it. And I think we want it to be us.
This is the thing, right? We
Wow,
have to
did not see
approach
that one coming.
this. You got to approach it like the AI issue, right? It's like we
Oh
can
my
we can
god.
when we do this experiment and write this paper, we can't give people the keys to the castle in a sense to create this horrifying technology, but we can create a foundation for people to utilize this horrifying technology to create even more horrifying things. But we can't give them the full blueprint. That's an issue, I think.
So if it's like if we are building the killer robots, it's better be the US than China, is what you're saying.
I'm saying
Yes.
we can make we can make the rats transparent, we can make the rats demon form, but we can't do it both at the same time because then that's problematic.
I think that we should also erase verbiage like problematic. We should come up with new verb.
Yeah, see, he's thinking about the future dictatorship already. Good stuff. We already know he's going to be the mega controller of like the demon creation system. Like we already know he's the guy who grows shit. So like we have the origin story of the villain. We have like an interesting path here where we like do extremely something really beneficial or something extremely dark, and we're actually seeing the fork in the road right now. This is pretty funny.
I mean,
Like it's all fun and games until somebody's no longer sarcastic. It's like, I actually want demon rats this time.
I mean,
Exactly.
honestly, as crazy as it sounds, like we're gonna have our own lab soon, and like there hasn't been an internal discussion about like the ethical guidelines in which we will uphold. Which like it's probably about time that we start having that discussion.
Fuck
Like,
the ethical guidelines. Be like the Chinese dude.
dude, that's what I said
The ethical
basically.
guideline is to win.
Exactly. Yes. Except we, we
I
aren't
like winning.
we aren't the means justify the ends. We're just American exceptionalism.
That's actually true.
And we like have a little foreign input that tells you like you have the imported talent. You got the Werner von Brauns around as well.
We're using
If I'm the
American
German guy,
inputs.
am I like Werner von Braun by some chance? Because that's kind of weird.
No, I
Are you
don't
a
think so.
Nazi?
Are you?
I hope not.
Yeah, I hope not.
We're not gonna do anything stupid. We're not gonna take it to that level. It's gonna be perfectly fine.
The global consciousness project, guys. I mean, like, come on. We need to analyze the noosphere.
I need to hear Trump talking about the biocomputer, and everything's gonna be okay.
If I understand more about the biocomputer, then I will talk like him in biocomputer. But then it's going to be like you're not even going to want to hear that. You're just going to want to have to hear me talk about biocomputers because it's funny. Like alone, the metaphors that
Have
I will
you
come up
have
with
you
to like try and
guys
explain what it is horrifying on its own.
have you guys thought about what journals you're targeting to be published by?
We haven't gotten that far. We haven't even picked an experiment yet. So I think we got to pick an experiment, and then we can better decide what journal we'd probably fit in. You know.
I have
The
I have an
Science Journal
experiment
is a
lined
good
up.
one.
What is it?
The Science Journal, it's like one of the best.
No,
That's not the Journal of Science, is it?
Um,
it needs to be
y-
specific. There's no such thing as the best. You need to pick specifically for the field that you're doing.
Right.
You can't just pull out of your ass and be like science journal.
um, yeah, but I think generally speaking, if it's related to biomedical or biochemistry, the Science Journal research papers are generally much better than others.
I mean, why not? Hippocampal encoding of memories in human infants is on the front page of the Science Journal.
We're
Sounds
also
extremely fucking dark.
yeah, I mean, we're also close with the that biocomputing research
There's and on the
institution.
front page it says Clash on Monkey Island, and it's a picture of the Bronx. I don't know what that means, but these guys might be our people.
Bro, this is a perfect 4chan post. Like, literally, I want you to literally screenshot that shit and send it into the Dark Congress. Like, I wanna see that. That's a perfect fucking like thing you can turn into a 4chan meme. That's like not real. Where he's like, "This is the title. This is what it means. What did they mean by this?"
All right, hold on, let me figure out. How
Oh
to...
my god.
It's horrible.
It's just we're just having a little bit of fun. That's all.
Yeah, we know the biocomputing institution that we're working with pretty well, so we can ask like what basically people are peer reviewing
Right.
their
So
papers and what journals they work with.
in biocomputing, nature, biotechnology, cell systems. Right.
Yeah, come up with the actual answer to then tell us.
Yeah, nature biotechnology is apparently one of the biggest ones in that sense.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
nature is also really good.
The nature biotechnology. But yeah. Science is way too generic. It's too general.
You you can get into like the real thing is like we have to we shouldn't conflate actual foundation with memetics. You know, we have to like stop building the thing. You know, we research the actual concept of it and see how we can integrate ourselves one at a time and then eventually get into the memetics part. So you have to like look at the academic version of memetics is like getting into a publication that's extremely, you know, well seen or like in a large mainstream public eye, and then kind of move along from there. But yeah,
That's Milady coded. Zeno, did you hear that? I want you to internalize that because I've been having a little bit of a HR battle with Zeno about the memetics. I told him we got to hold off until we get our place in
Never
a useful
compromise.
journal. We got to hold off until
now
we
you
get
can
our
do the
place.
you can do the memetics. You just got to archive that shit and put it out when you're
Right,
successful. That's the point.
exactly.
I do want to maybe suggest that instead
Okay.
of aiming for like a nature publication or at least nature in biotechnology, that might be a pretty competitive journal to get into. We might want to think about alternate fields like perhaps zoology, where there might be a little less competition and it might be easier to get published. I would imagine there are also really like kind of under addressed fields that are like mergers between like zoology and neuroscience, for
Well,
example.
the beautiful thing is that with biocomputing stuff, there's actually way less competition than you would think. Um, that's all I'm going to say because I don't want to divulge too much. But like from what we understand, there is very, very little competition. We're actually working on stuff that like mainstream academia has not even touched yet, or
Yeah, I
hasn't
would.
released any papers on.
Yeah, I would say I think for multidisciplinary journals, proceedings of the Royal Society is pretty good for biological sciences. It has a ton of high impact research stuff.
Also, one thing I think we should start PR maxing like immediately. In that one of the primary problems is if you have people that are part of this whole thing that eventually is a kind of a team effort to build the foundation. Is I think we should collectively agree that various things that we publish online are kind of in line with a certain style of memetics. And I think one of the memetics that doesn't actually work out, which isn't even an anti-narrative, it's just basically noise that turns people's brains off, which is hilarious in this context, is like ticker shilling as well. So I think that's what going to be one of those compromises where like people are going to have to stop shilling any and all tickers unless it's like your own thing that you've made because of like a thing that's in line with the project, and that has to be secure because you can't have like a thing where you shill something and it just goes to shit. As a matter of fact, I think that part should be skipped in its entirety and should be dealt with in a very official, like very Web 2-ish manner, I think, because the more it feels foundational, the more there is strength to it, because it gives people a sense of aura of security to do that. Because if somebody else looks at it and says, oh, it's like the Web3 basis, they think toys and they think children, and they think like the people who like think, oh, we have Wolf of Wall Street as an ideology. It just is a very bad narrative to like keep around. Whereas if you were to say, look at it from the foundational perspective, like, hey, we actually did this in a very superficial manner. Like we took the aspect of how crazy can we make things, but we made it real in a way that other people could have never done it, because the very people who would have tried to force that in don't even have the mental capacity to come up with those things to force into that system, right? That's the kind of thing that I want people to understand around that.
That's basically like the exact ideology we had coming into this. None of us basically talk about any other coins that are not like related to the project that we're working on at hand. I don't think any of us ever will. I have no interest to. Like, this is my main focus.
Hell, I wouldn't even talk about any coins in general. If you want to do anything like crypto related, you just like say, "Here's my address. You want to fund transparent demon rats?" Like, I mean,
Yeah,
We're working.
gonna say
We're
no.
Adrian. We're working on abstracting away the crypto layer. So once people start like buying compute, they start buying biocompute. There won't be like a buy the token page, right? Because tokens are used for API access type deal. You're just going to have like a PayPal layer, and it buys the token on the back end, and no one has to do anything with the tokens.
Exactly, and I also don't think there should be like any speculative value on top of that, because the only reason why people make these things is because they just want to do speculative value farming.
Right.
And it's like, okay, so well, what are we
Right.
actually doing? We're not doing anything productive.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, way ahead of you. I got you. This
we
project
have
has about 2 weeks left in it if we're doing speculative